Hello and welcome back to another episode of Nick Tiffany's Movie Reviews, coming at you online and in print format at nicktiffany.com, in audio wherever you listen to your podcasts, and even on video right on YouTube. Today we are talking about the follow-up film from director Academy Award nominated Emerald Fennell, who burst onto the scene with Promising Young Woman, Carey Mulligan delivering just a freaking killer performance and a highly evocative, really interesting, and just like really right on the nose Me Too style film that approaches sexual assault, that approaches the covering up that anybody and everyone's willing to do, putting things out of their memory. It was certainly a theatrical debut that just like rocked everybody who saw it. I think it was definitely the talk of award season for a while too, from the performances from Bo Burnham and Mulligan to the sharp and just tense writing. So as soon as I heard that she was doing a follow-up movie, especially starring Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi, it's like, okay, this is definitely something that you got to watch for. So that's why today we're talking Saltburn, her long-awaited follow-up. I say long-awaited. It just feels, in movie years, it always just feels too long between some of your favorite people's projects or some of these newer directors, Yorgos Lanthimos, some of these A24 people where you're just like, man, I'm like, give me your next project, please. Ari Aster, some of these guys where it's hard to wait even a year or two. But I can happily say that the wait was more than well worth it. Saltburn is tremendous. Another scenario where I really knew next to nothing going in. I know they're all away at some British school, and Barry Keoghan's character makes a friend and goes back to his friend's estate for the summer. You know, that's just about it. And that's probably really all you need to know going in. Just know that hilarity and all sorts of wackiness is going to ensue. Barry Keoghan has really, really, really done a great job of just tackling so many different roles, handling them in such unique ways, playing a character who at times you're just feeling so down for. I'm thinking Banshees of Inisherin, particularly right now, who just has this soft-spoken quietness and tenderness to him, who can play dumb but also despicable, who obviously has done not the Marvels, but has done his Marvel movie, The Eternals, might be Joker, continue the role of Joker in Matt Reeves' Batman. But I mean, there's just so many different versatile roles that he's already played. He's done such a great job with. I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the new Gladiator movie. He is just a freaking chameleon. I mean, he just effortlessly turns on whatever he needs to. And so in this film, he's playing a student Oliver. He's at Oxford, attending university. You kind of learn real early on, you know, he's there on a scholarship. He's a smart guy, doesn't have a lot of friends, definitely not popular by any means, but we're getting flashes and kind of hearing his voice talking about this character played by Jacob Elordi. And it's a really interesting way to start it, but he's talking about Felix, this guy who is charismatic, he's tall, handsome, he's gorgeous. Everybody's drawn to him, men, women, everybody wants to be with him. They want to be around him. He's the life of the party. So it's no wonder that Oliver is drawn to something in Felix's presence. But obviously Felix would never notice him because he's just on the outside. And so, as fate would have it, one day, Oliver and Felix have a chance meeting. The two strike up a quick conversation. Eventually, later, notices him at the pub, brings Felix on over to introduce him to all their popular friends. You meet Farley, who's played by Archie Madekwe, who's been in more than a few things as well this year. And, you know, he kind of is inserted into this posh, rich friend group lifestyle where, you know, all right, well, you're buying rounds for people and like, where did you get your clothes tailored? And, oh, you know, you don't have cufflinks, you don't have certain things, just the standard snobbery that comes from old money, new money, whomever, especially when they're judging somebody. And so, you know, really early on, I think you really get this establishment of, all right, he doesn't come from money. He's worked for everything he's had. And even then, that's not enough to please these people. and it almost feels like your efforts are for naught. But Felix is just drawn to Oliver in a way that, that is just, there's this kindness to him. There's this, all right, well, you're not so self-absorbed and wrapped up in this world of wealth and everything matters as far as image goes. And Felix can really find himself being more of himself when he's around Oliver. And so the two become great friends, spending tons of time together. Doesn't hurt that, again, Felix is played by Jacob Elordi, who had people swooning as Elvis and Priscilla, has people swooning over him in Euphoria. He's a tall dude. He's good looking. He's got the little eyebrow piercings, long hair. I mean, you get it. I mean, in the film, you get it. You're like, this is the guy. And so, yeah, if you're in his company and you're in his presence, I'm sure you feel great. If this guy wants you around, that's got to feel wonderful. And so towards the end of the summer term, or going into summer term, a tragedy kind of happens in Oliver's family. And, Felix really steps up and he says, hey, you're my good friend. Come back to Saltburn for the summer. Meet my family. You'll stay at the estate. It's no biggie. We'd love to have you. And Oliver obliges. And I'm sure he could not be prepared for what he would find at Saltburn. This sprawling castle and estate out there with butlers, guards, all sorts of maid service, and a family that's just completely disconnected. Another person who I didn't know was going to be in the movie, Gone Girl herself. Why can't I think of her name right now? Oh my goodness. This is the one problem about doing things live. You think you're so confident. Rosamund Pike. I was looking up Rose. I was thinking Rose, Rosamund. Rosamund Pike, who everything she does always kind of leaves me feeling tense. She's biting. She's just quick. She's devious sometimes. And so with a really, again, a sharp, smart script written by Fennell, I mean, she's chewing these words up, creating just the most unique family dynamic you could probably have. And so as Oliver spends more time at Saltburn, he really kind of sees the debauchery, the care, or the lack thereof, perhaps, for each other, for certain things. But at the end of the day, you feel some of this longing for Felix. And you feel Oliver maybe perhaps more than drawn to Felix in certain ways. And so once they're at the estate, once they're out here all summer, at first I was like, oh, maybe this is kind of going to go the way of Call Me By Your Name, and we're going to spend a hot Italian summer naked by the pool with Jacob Elordi and Mr. Barry Keoghan in replacement of Chalamet and Hammer. But maybe it started that way because the film is shot great. It's kind of filmed almost in that IMAX format, the 1:3:3 whatever square shape. Really keeps your focus on the center of the film. It's set in 2006, and so there's a little bit of the graininess in the film still that does make it feel a little bit older as well. But no, it is not quite Call Me By Your Name, for better or for worse. But oh my gosh, I just this is a hard one not to review, but it's a hard one to talk about because so much happens and there's so much also happening somewhat behind the scenes that you really can't get into a great discussion about it without knowing some of these plot points or knowing maybe where the story goes. So I'm not really going to touch on it anymore, other than things get really surprising when you get out into the country and Oliver and Felix start this summer at Saltburn. From family interactions to just trying to fit in, to also feeling like maybe you don't belong. This film touches on so many different things that just I think so many people worry about internally, that you feel and see at every level. You also see some of the tastelessness and disregard for not even just human life, but just general morality from some of these wealthy people. And so there's also discussions of, anything from misuse of money, from just how anything can be downplayed. You could throw money at a wall, you can send kids away. There is a solution for everything when you have money, other than actually solving the real problems. But you could never be confronted with those truths because that would just be horrifying. And so this proper English presence that's kind of behind all of this wealth and all of these people is really interesting to kind of dig into, especially through the eyes of Oliver. Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi are phenomenal together. They are together and separately, both of the film. The complexities of their characters are played stupidly well sometimes. Keoghan especially, the lengths he goes as an actor in this film really took me by surprise a lot of times. But, whether it was, we've seen Tender, we've seen Shy, and I'm watching him somewhat fawning over Elodie's character, and the way that they look at each other and the way that they discuss things or linger, or certain holds last a little bit longer than maybe they should, but it's just, you feel so much from his character. And Elodie especially as well. Felix is one who, obviously, yes, he's Mr. Popular. People look at him a certain way, and you have a lot of assumptions about what he might be like, where he comes from because of his family. But Elodie adds so many layers to the performance, and just so many different kinds of moods and things he keeps bubbling, that you can you see these glimpses of someone else there. Just really, really terrific. Go in cold to this one. It'll just freaking knock your socks off on the back half. Things start happening. It's like a domino effect. Once the first one goes down, things happen quickly. And I was not prepared. Y'all probably won't be prepared for it either. Emerald Fennell has done just a terrific, terrific job with this follow-up to Promising Young Woman. This is a must-see for anybody. This is why I love this time of year, is because it's cliche to say, yes, sometimes you save the best things for last. But in this case, I have seen 3 or 4 films in the last week that have just completely knocked my socks off, that just, some coming out of left field where I was like, wow, did not expect that. Did not expect to like that as much as I did. Happy to say that Saltburn, just hitting all the high notes. Wonderful, wonderful job. Check this out when it's in theaters near you. For all other movie news and reviews, make sure you stay tuned to NT Movie Reviews on all social media networks, podcast platforms, and on YouTube. And as always, thank you guys for listening again. There's no shortage of movie reviews coming out soon, so make sure you stay tuned. Thanks again. Have a great day.